Hey guys, it's Megan. Welcome back to the library. This is part 2 of our Makerspace video. In today's video, I will be talking more about the behind the scenes content. Last week, I gave you an overview of our Makerspace and gave you the tour. Today, let's talk the nitty-gritty stuff. So at the beginning of last year, when I knew about the move to the new school, I begged my central office to, give me funds for the Makerspace. And they said yes, because I could never purchase all of the stuff in this Makerspace room right behind me here with my own library budget. And if I did, it would be slowly over the course of like many years, right? But this was like a once in a lifetime chance for me to buy everything all at once and have it totally stocked. So first I want to talk about how I planned what to buy for the Makerspace, and then I'll give you the tour of the Lexington Public Library's Makerspace, the videos I filmed when I toured their Makerspaces, and then I will give you the spreadsheet and show it to you as well of what I actually purchased. I hope this video will help you if you are thinking about building a makerspace, or maybe you already have one, you just want to see like someone else's process and what they did and see if there's anything in here that can help you. But the first thing I did was try to get an idea of what students wanted for the makerspace. So I put out, I hope I still have the pictures. If I do have the pictures, I will insert them here. If I don't, I'm sorry, I'm just sitting off to the side. But I put out this huge big like roll of paper just in the hallway outside the library doors and put a big sign that said like, help us plan the new makerspace. And it was, giant roll of paper all the way down the hall. And I had a table set up with some markers on it and basically a little sign that told what it was. I said, write down what you want, and you don't have to write their names or anything. And kids were writing, 3D printer a lot, that kind of thing. And I tried to give them some examples so that they would know what kinds of things that they could request. So I got a lot of ideas that way. I also put little Post-it notes on the library tables, and then I see students every single month for monthly library visits, even at my high school library, which is really nice. And so when, I get to see about 1,000 students a month. So when they would come in, I had Post-it notes on the table for them and said, hey, while we're kind of getting started or while we're wrapping up at the end, whatever it was, jot down some things you would want for the makerspace. I want your all's input. This is your makerspace. Like, you'll be the ones using it. I'm just the one paying for it. Well, I wasn't even paying for it. I was just kind of the facilitator, I suppose. So students gave me a lot of feedback that way. And I actually put all their suggestions from both the board outside in the hallway and from the Post-it notes into a spreadsheet so that I could have kind of proof of what students wanted, so I could show central office, like, here's why I'm requesting this thing, to like justify it. I needed to justify the fact that they wanted a 3D printer. So I wanted to know, let them know how many students had requested it. So I put that into this nice little spreadsheet that I was able to send to my central office. Now, I also sent out an email to all the librarians in the state that I live in, which is Kentucky. We have a listserv. I'm sure most other states have something similar where you can email like all the librarians in the entire state at one time. And they always are asking each other questions and advice. And I usually don't send out too many emails on there. But this time I was like, hey, we're building a makerspace, and I had some really specific questions like, do you have a 3D printer? Is it actually used? Because I was a little scared of a 3D printer because I don't know how to use it. I don't want to break it. Like, I know the kids probably know how to use it better than I do. So in the survey, well, not really a survey, just kind of an informal kind of questionnaire, I was like, okay, do you have the 3D printer? And then also, do you focus more on like arts and craftsy stuff or like high tech stuff or a little bit of both? And what items do you find are actually the most used in your makerspace? And do you have any just, ideas that you could give me, like things that you could tell me maybe about like the cost of something or just whatever it was, any pieces of advice for me? And I got a lot of really good feedback from that. I was able to use that information that they sent me when they responded to that email in my spreadsheet that I'll show you here in a minute that has all the items I'm requesting for the makerspace. And I have a rationale piece for that. Like, for each item on the spreadsheet, I have a rationale as to why I'm requesting that item. And a lot of the times it was like recommended by other librarians is what I would put. Especially if it was like a different brand of something that maybe it was more expensive than a normal brand or more expensive than something on Amazon, I would say like, well, but this was the one that was specifically recommended by librarians. Okay, the final piece of preparation, besides just like Googling it, obviously I kind of just like searched items in the makerspace, that were popular and stuff. But I really wanted to tour some other makerspaces. And like trying to get to another school would be tough because like they're busy too, if it's during the school day, and like if it's outside the school day, they're not going to be there to show me, it'd be bad to ask a librarian at a school to stay after to have to show me stuff. So, hey, lunchtime editing Megan here. I rambled on in this clip for like 10 minutes about touring other makerspaces. So I just wanted to say I eventually got to tour 3 makerspaces at the Lexington Public Libraries here in Kentucky, and they were each kind of focused on like a different thing, like STEM or whatever it was. Something, one was more like for kids, one was more craftsy, and now we're just gonna cut to like me getting ready to tour them. So I thought I would insert the clips now of me touring the makerspaces, and then after we go on the tours of everything, we'll come back at the end and talk about the spreadsheet I made. So let's cut to 1 year ago, Megan. See you later, school. Ha ha ha. We're going on a field trip. Okay, we're on the road. We are going to the Lexington Public Libraries. So if you don't know, I live in Kentucky. Lexington is the second largest city in Kentucky. So I'm assuming this is like the second largest public library system anyway in Kentucky. And we're gonna tour their makerspaces today. So there was a lady from Lexington. Well, long story short, basically, turns out one of the students at my school, her mom is like one of the directors of the Lexington Public Libraries, which is awesome. And she's like, hey, my mom said she would help you think about your makerspace thing, because I told her you were wanting to do some new cool stuff in your future makerspace at your new school next year, because we're getting a new building next year if you don't know. And I was like, okay, let me contact her. So I did, and she's like, hey, I can hook you up with the person that's like our director of our makerspaces. We have 3. One's called a digital makerspace, digital studio, one's just called a makerspace, and one's called a STEAM lab. So, but they're all kind of makerspaces, but they all have different functions and different purposes. So they were like, we'll hook you up with all 3 on the same day and give you an actual official tour. I was like, what? So not only is this one lady taking her entire day basically to give me these tours of these spaces, because we're there for a while. I'll show you the schedule here in a minute. We're not only doing that, but at each makerspace that we go to, we are going to be shown, I think we're going to be given a tour at each makerspace of like by the person that runs that makerspace. So it's like multiple people are taking time out of their day to do this. So I felt like I had to buy the lady something that is doing this for me today. So I got her this little book tumbler. It's actually a Scholastic Book Fair thing. But anyway, yeah, I got her this, and I've got a cute little bag to put it in and a thank you card, because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get her something. She's spending her whole day doing this. And we're even gonna have lunch together, so I can ask her more questions, but I have a huge list of questions to ask, and I thought I would take you along and let's see what these makerspaces look like. Here's one caveat. I'm going to do a voiceover for probably most of it, because I don't want to be talking and filming like while I'm talking to her and actually trying to get information for my job about how to make a good makerspace. But I'm so glad I'll have this all on film so that I can go back and look at it and see, you know, exactly like what brand of everything they used. If I have any questions, I'll like have all that information on camera. Made it to our first destination. This is the North Side branch, and this is the one that has the digital studio. So here's our schedule for the day. So literally an hour and a half at this one place. So I'm really intrigued as to, I mean, I think we're going to go really in depth into some of these pieces of technology, things like that, to see, I mean, for a whole hour and a half, that'll be awesome. Like, it's not just a quick tour, it's like an in-depth tour. And then an hour and a half for lunch, very exciting. And I'll probably get to pick this lady's brain about a bunch of stuff, because I'm assuming we're eating lunch together. And then 1 p.m. East Side Makerspace. It says chat with staff and tour the space and see customers using. The space doesn't open until 1, doesn't usually get busy until 2. But today, the students in this county, this is a different county than what I work in, but they are out of school today because of the snow. We are not, but they are. So there could be a lot of people here at any of these, because with kids being out of school, probably their parents need things for them to do. Then 3 o'clock is going to be this STEAM lab, chat with staff, and tour the space before the program begins at 3:30. And then normally I get out of school at 3:50, so this might be a little bit later day than I'm used to. But I'm going to go in and awkwardly stand in the front and see how it goes.
So yeah, this is a professional mic that you would find in most recording studios. There's an audio interface that has up to 4 inputs. We have recording software that's industry standards like Pro Tools and Logic Pro.
Wow. Definitely echoey though, like for
It is definitely echoey.
Yeah, and I like the green screen.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right.
All right.
Love it.
So, as a YouTube content creator, this is probably the space.
There we go. I don't know how much.
Hang out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, I could imagine a lot of my students would want something like this. We kind of have this set up. We have another teacher that does like the school news and things like that, and he has this. It's just the problem is students can't just come in and use it whenever they need to, because you know, he can't just turn them loose with the equipment, and he might be in the middle of a class. And so, you know, we just wanted a communal space where they could use it. So after seeing their video and audio recording studios, we then toured this little area, which had, you know, the 3D stuff, 3D printers. I think it had other things as well, but honestly, it's been a year since I filmed this. So who's to say? But he kind of showed me around. We talked about the expense of the 3D filament, which honestly wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. He said this was actually really, really popular. Everybody wanted to use the 3D printer. And then he let me use it. Well, I didn't get to use it, but I took well, no, I did. Yeah, we made this, I think. Is that what we did? I don't know. I can't remember. But a little baby, oh yeah, they had a bunch of little baby Yodas that they had made. And I decided that we had to have a 3D printer, but probably just the one. I think they had 3D pens as well. And then it was lunchtime. And so I had this amazing sandwich at this little cafe, and I got to eat with the lady that was giving me the tour. And it was really, really fun. We just chatted about all kinds of stuff. And then we moved on to the branch of the library that had a lot more artsy, craftsy makerspace type stuff. Like I said, each of their makerspaces kind of focused on a different thing. So here it was. I kind of tried to show everything as I walked in here, but they had crickets, you know, the drawers of craft supplies, button makers. Also, they had these really cool, look at this, these cool notebooks that showed like how to use each thing. So wouldn't that be so cool if you didn't have to stop and teach people how to use stuff? They could like learn on their own. They had 3D printers as well. That's of course popular everywhere, so I guess everybody had a 3D printer. They had different kinds. We wound up getting the Bamboo Labs printer. This was the big poster printer, which we decided we didn't really need because somebody else in our school building has a poster printer, so it would just kind of be overkill. And then they had books on how to do stuff, like craft books, and I had the idea that I should buy stuff like that, how to do origami, that kind of stuff. This was I guess, laminator? Yeah, I think that was a laminator. They had actual, you know, desks for people working there, which was really cool. And then we come over to all their craft supplies, and they were very easily organized. Oh yeah, look at their logo. You are the maker, we are the space. I love that. I thought that was great. This logo implies that, you know, they're the space, but you don't, like, I don't have to be the expert on making any of this stuff, which is exactly the case. But yeah, you can see the organizers here that they had. They had labels on everything. So I have a label maker, so I can label all of my bins just like they did. Very, very organized. You might have also seen they had some sewing machines up there. That gave me the idea to order some sewing machines as well, which I did. Let's just look at the mobility of everything too. Like, I think a lot of this stuff was on wheels. That was a really good idea. You had stuff to bind books together, which I have one of those book binding machines. Look, they can make keychains, earrings, all kinds of different things with the button maker. And of course, they have signs about how to do it and limits on it and all that stuff. So they also had more books in this area, which was really helpful, just how to do stuff. I still think this is such a good idea. And maybe I don't even let students check them out. Maybe we just leave them on the shelf, like kind of like reference books, basically, how to do whatever the subject is. Having sinks handy for paint, which we're not going to be that messy. I think I bought like paint sticks and stuff, so it wouldn't be so messy. And Cricut supplies, all the mats. We have a Cricut already, so we don't have to buy a new one. We have Cricut mats that I purchased for the school. We have big ones, small ones. They had a computer specifically right there for Cricut, the Cricut making stuff for the software. So I will have to get a computer for that for the school. Here's just some random stuff that they made. Are these little zines? I can't remember. I think they had little zine templates at a zine club, which was really cool. Yeah. And you like fold these little pieces of paper in different, you know, ways to make it's like a tiny little magazine, I guess, is what it is. And I think sometimes you can tell stories in them. I honestly don't know, but it would be kind of cool to have clubs that are for things that are kind of cheap to make. So this kind of concludes the end of the tour of that makerspace. Well, that was so productive, so successful. We're heading on to the central branch of the library, which I'm terrified of because apparently we have to go to the 4th floor. I'm afraid of finding it. Not so much that. I'm terrified of the parking garage because apparently I have to find a parking garage. It's next to a police parking garage. I'm afraid I'm going to find the wrong parking garage. It's going to be a struggle. But that was so productive. And look, I got this little zine. I've heard of zines. I know they're like little things you make like this, apparently. Anyway, they have a little club for them. So we could definitely make those. And maybe you could even use the Cricut to make them somehow. Update, I got into the parking garage. I was panicked because I couldn't figure out which parking garage, but I figured it out. So we're here, and I don't know where the actual library is from here. Is that it across the street? I don't actually know where I'm going. Voiceover Megan here again. We are at the final branch. This is the main branch of the public library. It was huge. I just wanted to show you the inside of it because, you know, it was beautiful and had a lot of floors. In fact, you're about to see, we went up the elevator and I got to see, I was like, oh my gosh, there are like 4 floors in this place. And well, 5, I guess, counting the basement. They showed me this back storage room. This is not really what they show their patrons typically, but they just wanted me to see all the different kits that they had. This makerspace focused definitely more on like attracting younger visitors and having different kits for making stuff, which was really cool. And then they showed me it in action right here they were about ready to have an activity for making stuff. And they also have a recording studio. I guess most of them have that kind of technology, some of them had recording, some had 3D printers. They had this little collab lab space just for people to, collaborate together. Just, it's so pretty. It's just very, very colorful and bright. And you can tell it's definitely geared more towards young people. And they have different programming and events just to, utilize all their supplies. I think they were doing something that involved technology. Like they actually do more STEM type activities, robotics. I think they were kind of coding something, I think is what it was the day I was there. So I realized I needed to focus on getting some things like that too. I had some Lego robotics kits already, so I think that'll help. But that concludes our tour of all of the Lexington Public Library's makerspaces. Thank you, Pastor Megan. We're back. We're back at the library again. So what I want to do at the very end of this video here is I'm going to actually cut to the spreadsheet now. I don't know when I'm actually going to get a chance to film it, so I'll probably be in a different outfit, but I'm going to do a screen recording and show you our spreadsheet for the makerspace so that you'll know exactly kind of what we actually bought. Here's the spreadsheet in all its glory. So I will have this link down below in case you just want to see it. But I realized after I made this spreadsheet that other companies, I know Mackin does it. They have something called Mackin Maker, but I'm sure there are other companies too that will curate this list for you. But I didn't really even realize that at the time. And honestly, I'm kind of glad though, because I really wanted to do this list myself just to see, what did I really need in the makerspace? And, what did other librarians truly suggest that I purchase, and how much is everything, and why, the rationale for why we had it, and get the exact right brand that I wanted, find it on Amazon, do some research. So yes, it was way more time consuming, but I think it was more beneficial in the long run that I did all this work myself rather than have a company do it for me, which of course I'm sure they would have charged me regardless. I will say the one benefit of having another company do all this for you would be that if you use something like Mackin and you already have, an agreement with your school that they're on file as a vendor, and you've already got all the tax exempt forms and W-9s and whatever on file, that having that handy would be really nice, because then they can buy all this stuff for you from, whatever companies, I suppose. But since you're going through Mackin, your school has all the paperwork already. I had to purchase several things from, for example, the 3D printer. I tried to get the button maker from a different company and it didn't work out. But I purchased a few of the items from something other than Amazon, and I had to do lots of paperwork for any of those purchases. So it was a lot of work, but I still am glad that I did it this way. But yeah, just so that you can see here, I can kind of scroll down as well so you can see the rest. There's a couple, 2 or 3 pages of this little spreadsheet. But yeah, so here's the stuff, right? I've just got the stuff, how much it cost, how much you get, how much total per how many things that we would want to buy, the reason why we would buy it. And then what you can't see is off on the side here, there's also a link on to the Amazon or wherever it's from, mostly Amazon websites, where I actually found the exact item that I wanted. So you very well might want that. So like I said, I've linked it down below just so you can see what we bought. Please, if anybody has any recommendations for anything else that I should buy for the makerspace, please let me know down below. This was just very much the original plan. And then I went through, I'm planning on going through and seeing where are the gaps? What do students want? What are they requesting? What are some things that I'm seeing teachers doing in their classrooms project-wise that I think we could possibly use? And you can just sort of see here. I literally did all the big stuff and then also all the little stuff. The big stuff did take not as much time, obviously, 3D printer, that we need that done. Of course, finding the right brand and everything was a thing. But you can see here, I even did the little make-do kits for cardboard cutting. Of course, I already have a whole video part 1 of this that shows you everything I bought, so I won't go through every single thing here. But yeah, I even was stamps, calligraphy pens. I wanted every single item on here because obviously I've mentioned it before, but my central office paid for all of this stuff. So, I needed the list to be able to give them. And then here was just the end of it. I think I organized it, by price. And so it literally went down to a $5 bead organizer for all the beads for bracelet making. So was it maybe kind of extreme? Possibly. $4,500 for all of this stuff, approximately. I think it varied a little bit when I actually went to go order it, but that would be impossible for me to purchase, all at once. And I've said that before, but thank goodness our central office bought it all. So I could just get this all in one fell swoop, which was amazing because we didn't have any of this. We had no makerspace, or anything like that before. And I could have gotten little bits and pieces here and there over the years. It would have taken years to purchase all of this stuff, but I'll link this down below in case you want it. And hopefully this will help you guys. So guys, hopefully this was helpful. It's been really fun for me to do this whole process. The whole process has taken, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that, because I mean, it's been slow going because like my mom's been in the hospital lately for like 2 months. We've had a lot of snow days this whole like last 3 months of school. And so just getting it off the ground has been a little slower than I wanted. But honestly, like it didn't really take as long as I thought it was going to between like finding everything I was going to need, like picking out what I was going to need, ordering what I was going to need, getting it all in, getting it all organized. And I have a lot of TAs, like seniors who are my aides, who help me. So having them to like help organize the stuff, unbox all the stuff, you know, all that was awesome. Lastly, I have to give a huge shout out to our central office, Dwayne Ellison. He is our assistant superintendent. He is the one that offered to purchase all of this for me. Good luck on your makerspace journey. If there's anything I can do to help you, if you want another video, maybe I should do a part 3 on like how we plan on using it, like the structure of it. Actually, maybe I'll do that. Maybe stay tuned for a part 3 in the future of, you know, like when we're going to use the makerspace, how we're going to have students sign up to use it. We're going to kind of use it as a reward, also for small groups, also for whole classes. And I kind of have a system, I think, for how we're going to use all of it, but I've not implemented that system yet. So maybe I should wait and see if it actually works. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know down below if you're planning a makerspace, if you have questions, maybe I can help you out. Talk to you again soon. Bye.